my online MMA training school is gonna start today. You know, I'm gonna show you how to do MMA, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu. I'm gonna once I see how successful that is, or I'm gonna expand as needed. And by expand I mean I'm gonna you know eventually pick certain days to do certain like maybe MMA is gonna be Mondays and Wednesdays, Jiu-Jitsu training Tuesday and Thursday. You know what I mean, stuff like that. And then I'll try my best to make it predictable. So you know which day if you want to learn jiu-jitsu, then you know which day to go for. For those of y'all who don't know, I met Dana White before. I used to train with. I tried it for the Ultimate Fighter. You know, in a second, y'all. You know, but yeah, I met Edison Silva before. I'm gonna show you a picture. I'm gonna show you a picture of me and Edison Silva. I'm gonna do a video about that. Um, and I'm just excited, man. I train with the Noguera brothers. Yeah, man. It was definitely fun, chat. It was definitely fun. Definitely fun. You know, I fought for the belt before. I did all that, man. You have no idea what I've been through. That's why I don't take this. I don't take this for granted. I really don't. You know, I don't take it for granted. How I've been blessed. I think I've been blessed pretty well, and I don't know. Yeah, chat. Let me know if you have any questions. You know, let me know. Let me know if you have any questions. What's up? What's up, man? Yeah. So I'm so excited because this is gonna be this channel is growing very much. I want to thank y'all for that too because y'all helping this channel grow. So, so I appreciate that, right? And just so just because y'all don't know, I tried out for the UFC in 2005, and I was able to accomplish a lot. I fought in front of Dana White, you know. And let me tell you, Dana White was a cool dude. When I met him, he was a pretty cool dude, you know. Um, actually, actually, now you make it though. No. Maybe fist bump. Yes. Let me know if y'all like MMA. Do you like MMA? I haven't fought in a while, chat. I haven't fought in over 10 years. I am 51 years old. I'm 51 and I'm about to be 52. So my days of fighting are pretty much over. Not pretty much. It is over. But you know what? It was um it was actually fun though. It was actually fun, you know? And you know, everything comes to an end eventually, all right? I can't fight forever. These guys are more athletic, more skilled, younger than me, and I just had to come to that really I had to come to that realization that I'm not a young buck anymore. I'm just not. But you know what though? I was so happy that I was able to meet Dana White. Like I said, I met Dana White before. I met Anderson Silva. I met both Nogueira brothers, Big Nog and Little Nog. Jason Jackson was my training partner for years. You know, so was Luis Palomino. Luis Palomino was also my training partner for years. You know, years, man. Pablo Alfonso, you probably don't know who he is, but man, one of the skilled. This guy was so skilled, man. You know, I ain't gonna lie. I train for a lot of people, but at the same time, I was able to learn a lot. You know, some people some people ask me if I'm scared to fight in the cage, and I tell them I never really got nervous, and I think that was my problem. I was a little bit too relaxed. You know, I trained myself so much that I wasn't really nervous the night of the fight. Which now that I think about it, I should have been more nervous. You know, because it's good to have a little bit nervous energy. You know, it's okay to have a little bit of nervous energy. It really is. And let me tell you, I was definitely, my very first fight was in Virginia in 2007. I gotta tell you the story. So I've been training for a while, right? And I'm very stubborn. So I asked my sensei at the time for a fight, and he told me that I wasn't ready yet. So me being stubborn and pig-headed, I said, you know what? I'm gonna get my own fight. So I remember Monday. It was a Monday. I was calling around. I'm from Miami, Florida. I was calling around, and I found a fight in Virginia. I called the guy in Virginia, and he said yes, he has a fight for me this Saturday. So at 145 pounds. So I had a week to go lose weight. Remember, this is my first cage fight. So I only told two people, Pablo Alfonso, which is my training partner, and my brother. And then I went to Virginia and just started I went there solo, right? So then I get there at weigh-ins. Weigh-ins was Friday night. At weigh-ins, I'm there by myself. True story, I'm there by myself, right? And then at weigh-ins, the announcer goes, and from Miami, Florida, next on the scale, from Miami, Florida, Philippine. And then once he said Miami, Florida, some guys who live in Virginia heard Miami, Florida, and one of them was from Miami. And man, Angel Ortiz, man, big up to Angel Ortiz. He took me. He basically cornered me that you know what I'm saying, that weekend. He, he he took me under his arms, and him and Jeremy, all them boys, man, from all the boys from Virginia, the good people, man, good people. So anyway, come fight night, right? Come fight night, I'm in the back getting ready to fight, right? So I lost like 15 pounds in a week. My first time losing weight for a fight. I did it the wrong way, of course. I was dehydrated, blah blah blah. So then I'm in the back, warming up, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the back getting ready to fight. And the referee comes back to me. I mean, minutes before I fight, comes back to me and says, "Hey, he told me, hey, there's been a mistake." I said, wait. He said that my fight is at 155, not 145. And then he asked me, "Do I still want to fight?" And I said, "Look, man, I didn't fly 1,000 miles not to fight. Those are my words." And then I went out there. So I was supposed to fight at 145. I ended up fighting at 155. My very first cage fight, y'all, in Virginia. So then my opponent, was a little bit bigger than me, of course. And let me tell you, man, was that bad wrong? I don't know, man. I took the guy down at least like 7 times, chat. I took him down 7 times because, you know, up to that point, all I knew was grappling. My striking wasn't on point yet, blah, blah, blah. All I knew was my takedowns were good, was decent, and my jiu-jitsu was decent. And let me tell you, chat, I took the guy down a lot. And you know what's crazy about MMA fighters? Like, what I'm saying? Like myself? For my very first fight, I had him on the mount. I had him, I was on top of him. I was punching him. While I'm punching him, I start thinking to myself, why am I doing this? He's a nice guy. It was the weirdest thing. Again, my very first fight, I took the guy down, I mounted him, I started punching him in the face. But for some reason, as I'm punching him, I told myself, why am I punching this guy? He's a nice guy. You know, it's crazy how fighters have to, change their mind frame during the fight. And then, and the fight went 3 rounds, and I won. I won the fight. And then, um, I tried to submit him. I tried to knock him out, but he was just getting out. The guy was a very, tough guy. CR Hess was his name. So then I win the fight. I get interviewed, blah blah blah. I go back to Miami, and a week later, the same boys that I met in Virginia called me and said, "Fitz, man, you're a star." I said, "What happened?" That night when I fought, there was 15 fights that night. My fight made front page of the newspaper. My fight, front page of the newspaper. This picture of me punching him in the face in the third round. Front page, the Winchester Star. I was like flabbergasted. I was like, what the, right? I was so, and that was kind of like so then I got super motivated because of that. I like, man, I could do this thing. I could do this MMA thing, you know? Um, so yeah, that's the story of my first MMA fight. And that's a true story. It was crazy, chat. Crazy. But but you know what? It made me realize that fighting isn't for everybody because remember I told you how I felt bad punching the guy in the face. You know? How how is that possible, chat? I actually felt bad punching the guy in the face. You know? My, my very first fight, I was punching him, punching him, punching him, because I mean I totally dominated that fight. I took him down like 7 times, and that's my first cage fight. So and my striking wasn't as good as it is now. So all I knew was just to take him down, take him down, take him down, take him down. And guess what, Chad? I took him down. Um I got side control, side mount, you name it. I did it. You know, um, and it was such a wonderful feeling. It was such a wonderful feeling knowing that I fulfilled my dream at the point, at that time. So then, like a month later, I get a call from the promoter. Wanted me. So that fight was in September. Then I got a call from the promoter and said, "Hey, do I want to fight for the belt?" I said, "You best, yes, I do." So my second fight, chat, was for the featherweight belt up in Virginia. All right. So man, I was excited about that. So then I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. So then I'm training hard. I'm training hard. I'm training hard. And then I'm training hard, right? And then for some reason, chat, I got real sick. 2 weeks before the fight. Two weeks before the fight, I got real sick. Real sick. I mean, sick. I'm talking about I couldn't train that much, and I was losing weight. Blah blah blah. I was just, I mean, So then I got better a few days before the fight. So then I go to Virginia, you know, and then as I'm in Virginia, it's raining, it's cold, so it's not helping my sickness. So then I go fight this. I was 33 years old, I think. Yeah, I go fight this like 19-year-old jiu-jitsu guy, you know. So I'm like, man, I could do this. I could do this. So I fight this guy, so he's a grappler like me. So I'm thinking me and him gonna just do like a good grappling clinic. You know what I mean? The guy throws a head kick. I said, whoa! In a split second, I duck underneath it and take him down. But by the way, I took all my opponents down in MMA. I've never got taken down. I've taken down all my opponents, chat. So then he throws a head kick. I go underneath it and take him down. I was like, what the? You know? I said, what the? And then he goes, takes me down, whatever. I mean, I take him down. I start hitting him. He throws a triangle on me, chat. He throws a triangle, quick too. It was quick. So then I'm in a triangle. It's not completely locked yet, but it's getting there. I'm trying to get out. I pick him up I pick him up while I'm in the triangle, right? And then he was cranking it tighter, tighter. So I put him back down, and then when he did that, he got the angle to crank it even more. Chat, I lost in the first round for the belt. It was a championship fight. And chat, I lost in the first round. Chat, I know. I apologize for that. I apologize for that. I lost in the first round. You know, that was for the belt. Um, that was for the belt, chat. And even though I lost in the first round to a kid, I mean, he was like 19 years old. I still had a great time. I still had a great time. And fighting when you're in the cage, you don't really. Sometimes the fight goes by fast, right, chat? Fighting in the cage, sometimes the fight actually goes by fast. So it's kind of like sometimes that's why training is so important because if you train properly, right, chat? If you train properly, then you're able to how should I say almost go off memory, muscle memory, right? And MMA training is hard training. MMA training is hard training, chat. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know, MMA training is hard training. And sparring sessions. So like I said, I met Dana White before because I tried out for UFC Fight Show season 5. I met Anderson Silva before. Anderson Silva helped train me. I met Noguera, both of them, Big Nog. You know what I mean? And it was awesome, awesome feeling. And I just hope if y'all have goals also, not just fighting goals, if y'all have any goals, school, career goals, finding a wife or a husband or this and that, just know that you can do it. You actually can do it. If I can reach my goals of going to the cage, meeting Dana White and doing all this stuff, you can reach your goals too. All right? You're special, I'm special, we all are special. And don't let nobody tell you that. Um, find yourself a good dojo, a good school, and you do your best. You do your best. Let me tell you, it can be scary out there. Fighting, fighting can be scary. But if you prepare properly, then guess what? It's not gonna be that scary. If you prepare properly, then it's not gonna be that scary. You know, and that's what I want y'all to realize that. You know. But chat, man, let me tell you, chat. It was what an experience, man. Jason Jackson was my teammate for years. In fact, I was in the gym when he first started doing training with. He was like 21 years old. Very young guy. But off the bat, you knew he was very talented. Man, he's talented. And he became the Bellator champion, PFL. Man, this guy's awesome. You know. Um, That's why I definitely want to wish him the best. Give me a second, chat. But yeah, that's why let me know if you have any questions also because I can answer questions for y'all. Let me know if y'all want some advice. Let me know if y'all want some advice also because I also can give you some advice. Training with Dana White, fighting in front of Dana White was definitely an honor. You know, Look, again, Dana White was nice to me, you know. So I can't talk bad about my experience with Dana White. Um, when I met Dana White, he was super cool to me. Unless he's the best actor in the world, he showed me a lot of love. You know, you know. He told me good job, Fitz. You know. So I know he has been bored in controversy in the past, but one thing we gotta say, but Dana White is definitely a great promoter, probably one of the best promoters of our lifetime. He knows how to sell a fight. Um, and him and the Fatino brothers made the UFC what it is today, a juggernaut, absolute juggernaut. You know, and you can't take that away from him. Now and he's a shrewd operator, man. He's a businessman, boy. You know, down to the T. He's a businessman down to the T, chat. You know, but you know what though? But you know what though? At the end of the day, he gave a lot. He gave a lot of opportunity. He gave a lot of fighters opportunity. You know, do I think the pay should be raised? Yes, I do. I think every fighter's pay should be doubled at least. But again, I'm not the owner. I'm not the owner, so it's not my money. So I can't tell them what to do with their money. But I do hope that you know. It was an awesome, awesome feeling. I do think Dana White cares for the fighters. Dana White has done some good stuff. The only thing is, I just want him to every fight. Like I think before in the past, if you go to the UFC, starting out, you could make something like 12,000 to show and 12,000 to win. So your first fight in UFC back in the days, if you won, or like $24,000. Now it may sound like a lot of money, but come on, come on. In the big picture, nah. To put into perspective, Steph Curry makes $600,000 a game. Steph Curry makes $600,000 a game. All right, that's what I call banking. And some people say Luca might be the first person to make $1 million a game. Can you imagine? Can you imagine making $1 million a game? But yeah, it's it's very rewarding, you know. So yeah, so like I said, I met Dylan White. Dylan White's cool. I can't say anything bad about him. You know, I really can't. As far as from my experience with him, like I said, I met Dylan White before, but because I tried out for a UFC fight show, so five, I recorded myself. Super before, and it's a team that helped train me. I met Lagera, both of them, big dog. You know what I mean? And it was an awesome, awesome feeling. It was an awesome, awesome feeling. Like I said, right before, because I tried. Yeah, chat. So give me a second. Give me a second. Before, so yeah, and let me tell you, man, it was definitely fun. Uh, You gotta check me out, man. This YouTube channel is going very big, and thanks to y'all thanks to y'all, this channel. Like I said, give me a second, chat. Um, yeah, give me a second, chat. And it was definitely a great experience, you know. And fighters, saying these fighters today are super skilled, chat, super skilled. They actually are hybrid fighters, meaning that they can do everything. There's no longer that many pure specialists. There are still some specialists, but not that many. And by specialists, I mean jiu-jitsu, snipers, striking snipers, striking snipers, But it was definitely something to behold. It was definitely something to behold. But now I wanted to do bare knuckle fighting, chat. Chat, I wanted to do bare knuckle fighting, but my woman didn't want me to, and I was a little older too. I was like 51, 50 years old, and I'm a physician now. I'm an acupuncture physician, and even in bare knuckle fighting, even if you win, your face is still gonna be most likely beat up because it's bare knuckle. So that's why I didn't do it. I mean, two reasons. I don't want to come to work with my face looking all beat up from the punches and scratches. And my girlfriend, told me I couldn't do it. And so of course I have to respect her wishes, right? And plus I was a little older too, and let's face it, I couldn't be out there, you know, doing that stuff at this age, you know. But man, are y'all drinking enough water, chat? Are y'all drinking enough water? So I fought at 145. One featherweight, 145 is my natural weight. It's a weight class to fight. I fought at 155 before also, but 155 is a little bit too big for me. And I fought at 170 one time, and that's way too big for me. 170 is way too big for me, you know. So, and when I fought at 170, it was in a cage in a jiu-jitsu match. Let me tell you, chat, man, it was definitely something to behold, right? I played this video before on this channel, but it was definitely something to behold. You know, MMA. Let me start- let me- MMA chat. MMA is not that hard. Not I don't consider anything hard. I like to use the word intense. Okay, so like some courses in school are more intense than others. You know, so I don't like to say the word um hard or difficult. If you put in the work, if you put in the time, then you can do it. All right. I also like motivating people because one thing I learned about me reaching my goals of fighting is that I realized I can help motivate people to do the same thing. Not just fighting, but just to reach their goals. You know, don't ever think you cannot reach your goals because you can. You absolutely can. All right. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't reach your. Don't let anybody don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't reach your goals. Remember, there's a lot of haters out there. A lot of haters. A lot of haters don't want to see you do well. All right. And that's just the truth. It's sad. It shouldn't be that way, but that's just the truth, chat. All right. People hated on me when I tried out for basketball. People hated on me. You know, people are just haters. Of course, not everybody. Not everybody, chat. Everyone's not haters, but a good number of them are. I'm not gonna lie, a good number of them are. You know, too many for my liking. And one thing, one thing about the haters is that you have to tell them they're haters because they're miserable. Cause think about it, if somebody is feeling good about their life, not miserable, they ain't gonna hate. They're either gonna, like I said, they're either gonna encourage you or not. Anyway, Chad, thank you for everything. All right, catch you next time.